Hey guys, I'm Tom Rohr, and I've been skating for over 20 years. I'm here to give you all the details that you need to know to learn tricks as fast and efficiently as possible, and of course make it fun in the process. Every trick has that one tip that you should never forget. Once you know what that is, it's in the bag. Let's get into it. Welcome back, guys. For the last tutorial, I did nollie flips, and a lot of you commented that you wanted to see nollie heels next. Luckily, I've always loved nollie heel flips. This trick has been one of my favorites since I was young, so I got some good tips for you guys. And before I begin, I'm really excited to share with you guys that I'm skating my first artist-submitted skateboard design that I mentioned in my wall ride nollie tutorial. So my new sponsor, GNARS, they're a Web3 brand. If you're familiar with Web3 or not, hopefully you will be at some point. But these noggles, which is what these glasses are called, are the brand icon for NARS, which is a sub-brand of NOWS, an NFT brand. But what NARS is doing is they're having artists submit designs, and all the users within the NARS community vote on the designs, and the ones with the most votes get passed and printed on a board, and I get to skate them. This is the first board that was submitted and got printed on a deck. And this artist, Brett Draws Stuff, who you can follow via the link below in the description, was the one who submitted this design. And if you want to buy this board, you can do so via the link in my description below. Let's get into it. Let's start with the foot position. For the front foot on nollie heels, this can be adjusted depending on how you do them. For me, I like to have it angled this way, toward the direction I'm going, and in that pocket. More so on this side of the board. If you're goofy, on the other side. You can have it a little bit in the center as well. It really just depends, because sometimes if you go too far in this pocket, your board can end up going straight up, and you can get credit carded, which is the worst thing ever. And for some reason, it happens on this trick more than any other trick. So be careful. A good way to avoid that is to lean over your toes and not back over your heels. If you lean over your heels, that's what can cause your board to go straight up. If your front foot is too far on this side of the board, you're not going to get the same pop. This foot's pressing down here, this foot's pressing down on this side. All your weight's going to be pushing on that side of the board. So you want it to be more centered or in this pocket, because it creates an equal distribution of weight between the front and the back foot. If you put your front foot a little bit more back on the nose, that can give you more pop, and it can make it easier to tweak your board out more versus having it go rocket on you, more vertical. But you have to play with it and adjust it. If it's too far this way, it can cause your board to tweak too much. So it's just about finding that sweet spot. For me, it looks like that. The back foot. I like to keep my back foot right in front of the bolts, but with nollie heel flips, the further back you put it, the more you're going to be able to get your board to tweak better. But if you put it too far back, it can over tweak and go like that on you. So you have to adjust it as well. If you put it more forward, you're going to be able to flick a little bit faster. So if you're doing like nollie heel flips into no slides later down the line, you want to have your foot a little bit more forward. And I like to have my back foot facing straight up from my board and more perpendicular. For a lot of tricks, you want to put more weight on one foot than the other. But for nollie heels, I'm noticing that I put an equal amount of weight on both feet, because you want to be pressing down really hard on the nose to get a good snap, which is very important. But you also want to be pressing down really hard on these front toes on the front edge of the board. Like I said, you want to get a good snap on the nose before you flick. Bend down and take your time bending down and shifting your feet into the position. That helps so much with every trick. It's how you roll up to it and how your balance is. So if you take your time, shift while you slowly bend, you can see how balanced I am by the time I'm bent down. It helps so much with the way you pop and flick your tricks. Let's get into flicking. I taught with regular heel flips to flick off your toes, which is such a good hack. But for this trick, I'm noticing I do flick off my heel a little bit more. Also, a big thing that I'm noticing with nollie heels is that you flick more straight off the back of your tail, more than you would for most tricks. Watch this one in slow motion. You can see where I'm flicking off. I flick past that pocket and straight off the back of the tail. That's going to help level out your board more and avoid it from going rocket on you. It's really easy to make a mistake of flicking too far out and too soon with this trick. You can see what happens when I do it. I'm flicking a little too early and a little too out, and my board goes rocket on me, and it also rotates sometimes. So you gotta think to flick fast. Pop and flick straight back off that tail. So you got the flick down. When you're popping, you bend way down, and then when you go to jump up, I noticed that I was lifting my back leg up a little too much and a little too soon, and that was causing my board to rocket as well. It's another story with the front foot. With that foot, you want to lift it straight up as you pop. Get it out of the way so you can give your board room to tweak out like that, and then catch it. And you have to lean forward for nollie tricks. You want to be leaning with all your weight over your front leg, just like I taught with nollies and with nollie flips. And like most straight tricks, keep your shoulders parallel with your board all the way throughout the trick. Don't let them turn this way. If you have taller trucks, you're gonna have to pop a lot harder. If you have lower trucks, you won't have to pop as hard because your nose is gonna hit the ground real fast. Sometimes that can make it easier to do it with lower trucks. I like a little bit taller trucks because it helps me pop more. And if you do it good, you should catch it with your front foot. That's how you know that it's nice and tweaked or level. Sometimes you'll catch it with both feet. That's all right too. If you're catching it with your back foot, your board's probably going to rocket on you. So to perfect them, I always just try to catch it with that front foot. Land on those bolts and roll away. That's it for Nollie Heels, guys. Go follow Brett Draw stuff and keep your eye out for more designs. And don't leave until you watch the key takeaways at the end. Let's do some Nollie Heels. Before you click away, be sure to hang on to these key takeaways. Put your front foot in the pocket and angled forward. Put an equal amount of weight down on both feet. Lean forward over your front leg throughout the trick. Flick fast and straight off the back of your tail. And lift your front leg straight up. Thanks for tuning in, guys.